Greetings. This is Justin Allen, the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, a podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system, and frankly, screw that. Sick of it, and it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take the measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked with the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help a nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, on to the episode. Hey everyone, today we'll be talking to Erica, who is a family nurse practitioner. She recently was working at an urgent care, but now wants to pivot and start her own practice where she will focus on food allergy testing, and wellness services. She's needing assistance developing packages, what services to offer within the wellness component of the practice, and just some general startup considerations. Hey Erica, how are you?
I'm good, Justin. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for hopping on here. All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been a nurse practitioner for, and what you've been doing, and this whole pivot.
All right, thank you. I've been a nurse practitioner for 15 years. Spent virtually all that time working in urgent care. 14 of that was in a softer urgent care, but things change, life happens, you have kids, and so.
All right, so here you are. All right, so you're wanting to start a allergy practice and a wellness clinic. So tell me a little bit about this idea that you have.
Sure. So for the past 6 years, I have had a child with severe food allergies. We didn't realize how severe at first, and then a couple ER visits, and so he was pared down to about less than 10 foods at one time.
Jeez.
So very stressful just to keep my child alive, feed him, let alone alive. So obviously I've been delving into research studies, seminars, articles, reading countless food labels. Things are really covered up on all of our food. It's like it doesn't list it as milk, it's listed as whey and stuff like that. So just a lot of research just to keep my son alive. So why not, make it a business? I've gone to seminars, like I said, and there just isn't enough education for the providers. And there's not enough allergists and immunologists to go around, and the wait time to get into them is long. So I'm not pretending, to be the end all be all for people or the emergency people. Definitely they have their place, but I'm looking at walking with these families and getting a jump start, if they need testing, more diet analysis and maybe elimination, vitamin adding. I can order some blood work, obviously the nurse practitioner component in there. And, if they need an EpiPen on board and whatever else to help make their lives better.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
That's the angle.
Yeah. All right. So then that makes a lot of sense. I think that your personal connection to it is going to be something that's going to probably be something very It's going to resonate with patients for sure.
I think so.
Yeah. That's going to be your big selling point with this business. Okay. So you definitely are going to want to leverage that experience all over your website and, on all that kind of stuff. Okay. It's how you're going to sell these services to people. All right. Especially if you're wanting to do telemedicine. You mentioned that you'd want to you want to do this telemed, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Either that or hybrid. So I wanted to ask your advice on that as well.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Now, before we dive into that though, I want to ask you though real quick, why the wellness services as well? Do you think that the allergy component of this is not going to be good enough and you're wanting to diversify some other things? Are you worried that the allergy component of this is not going to do as well? Is that why you're wanting to add some wellness services? Tell me a little bit about your mindset there, kind of what's going through your head.
I think the allergy community is huge. And I feel like we're just starting to, touch on the surface of things. So I do think that aspect will be good, but I also wanted to, expand my services, but then in the future, if I want to pivot a little bit, the wellness component is there. Not that I'm leaving the food allergy, but I can also pull in some wellness things.
So
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So are you wanting to treat mostly pediatric patients or just anyone really?
I think family, because I've listened to your podcasts in the past and stuff, and I know you say hone in on who you want to treat with this. So, yeah. What's your advice on that?
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's talk about this. So first off, all right, I don't think we need to complicate this business and begin offering a bunch of wellness services in it. Now that I've heard your story and kind of heard what where you're coming from, kind of where the value of this business is going to lie, your experience with it, etc. I don't think wellness services are going to be really that necessary. I think offering a few things from a wellness aspect to enhance the treatment of the allergy treatment is probably not a bad idea. Okay. Maybe some functional medicine aspects or maybe some diet, nutrition, vitamin things. I mean, I think that I think some wellness services fit into it as a complementary service to enhance the allergy treatment, right? Mm. Obviously, if someone's wanting to, get rid of their food allergies and they're also hormone deficient or vitamin deficient, if you do some blood work on them, obviously you want to fix that. It probably would improve their immune system, which would then improve their allergies, probably, right? So, I mean, I could see it from that standpoint, but otherwise, I don't think I would approach this as allergies and wellness stuff, HRT, weight loss, peptides, vitamin injections, etc. I wouldn't do that wasn't. I would do with, right? The main thing of this business is going to be the food allergy component of it. Because you are right. There are a lot of people out there, adults with sensitivities, pediatric patients. There's a lot of people out there who suffer from this and would love to have comprehensive allergy testing done, etc. Okay. So by all means, I think that it is I think that's where your focus should be. You can treat pediatric patients, adults, whoever. Like I've recently, so I'm 41 years old and I've recently developed this dairy intolerance. And
I don't doubt it. It's common.
Yeah, I've ate dairy all my life without any issues whatsoever, like whey protein powder. Now, whey screws me up now. I can't even have a whey protein shake now. So like I've had to go to like beef protein isolates and egg isolates and stuff like that instead, which is fine. It's still a complete protein. I'm still getting my protein. It's not a big deal, but regardless, took me a few months to figure out what the hell was going on, right? And so, you know, for me, I mean, I have a medical background, so I was able to figure it out myself. But there's a lot of people out there that don't have that ability, right? So, so I think there's both. I think there's merit in both pediatric and adult patients with this. Okay, you can go everything from, you know, food allergy stuff, high FODMAP foods, you know, that cause bloating and gas and IBS symptoms and things like that, which ultimately just ends up being a food sensitivity allergy, maybe not an allergy in the true sense of the word, but regardless, it's still a sensitivity. And then focusing on, you know, the actual true allergy stuff. I'm allergic to peanuts as an example, right? So I think that there's probably going to be enough business for you in that aspect alone to probably do very well. All right.
Thank you.
So I would say focus on that. And then the wellness stuff can just be complementary to that. Right. You know, so yeah, that's where my focus would be if I was you. I think it would make this so much easier. I think it would. It's a great niche. It's fairly underserved. It's not very saturated, and doing it telemedicine is something that you can do. All right. And so, you know, and then, you know, getting the testing done and things like that. You can actually go through Access Medical Labs, you know, just mention and, you know, with Access that you are an Elite NP member, and they'll give you some discount pricing. They actually have some, they actually emailed me. It's interesting we're doing this podcast because they just let me know that they have this comprehensive allergy testing panel now.
Really?
Yeah.
Timing's funny, right?
Yeah. It's interesting to me that we're talking about this and they just happen to email me about this, like, no joke. I'm not like 2 weeks ago. So like,
when we started talking, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, so they have some pretty advanced, allergy testing stuff too, that you can use that information as well. But
will they bill insurance?
It's going to be a cash based thing. So yeah, but the pricing's reasonable, you know. So you could use Access Medical Labs to do the allergy testing component of it for you. They will, you know, they'll give you discount Elite MP pricing, and then they would send the labs straight to the patient's home. So if you're doing it telemed, they'd send it to their home, and then they would just go over to a LabCorp or whatever and collect it. I think some of it's saliva and some other things too. I don't know the exact specifics of it quite yet. I haven't really read into it. But I do plan on doing another episode. Probably, I'm just going to do like a solo episode where it's just going to be me, and I'm going to start talking about some of these other tests that people can implement in their practice. So that might be released in another couple of weeks after this is published. But yeah, you could use them for the allergy component testing of it, right? And then the treatment component of this, I would imagine a lot of it's lifestyle. A lot of it's probably going to be some of those immune globulins or whatever it is that you give people the little antigens and expose them to it and build up tolerance and whatever, however you go about this. But yeah, I think there's merit in this business. I would say focus on that. Now let's talk about hybrid versus telemed. Okay. The whole wellness component of it, aspect of it, again, that's not your focus. It's more of a complementary thing. Okay, so figure out what you want to do in that regard. Is HRT a good way to go? Weight loss is a waste of your time. Don't even bother with it. Are vitamin injections a way to go? Nutrition, things like that? Probably, I would imagine. Can some peptides help, reduce the inflammatory response, improve immune system function? Probably. So you can do some things like that, and they're a great cash add-on, right? So anyways, though, and this is completely anecdotal from my end, but I started BPC 157 orally to help kind of heal my gut from the damage that was done while I was still consuming, dairy products. And it has been a complete game changer for me. Like my gut is like, it's healing. I can feel it. I'm not bloated anymore. Like I'm having, consistent bowel movements. I'm not bloating. I'm not burping all the time. I'm not cramping. Like it has helped a lot, so So there, so like that would be a great little thing to have as an add-on sell for the adult patient. I wouldn't prescribe that to a 10-year-old, but an adult, fine. But that's like that. Like that's what I mean by integrating the wellness components into it, right? It's a great complementary service. It's a great revenue add to your business, and it definitely helps the patient. So telemed versus hybrid. You don't have to tell us where you're located at, but is there anyone in your area doing this?
Absolutely not. That's what I said. I've looked it up, and anything I can pull up is just the allergy immunologist.
Right.
So nothing.
And the population of your area is estimated?
I'm in the outskirts of 3 well-to-do towns and stuff. So yeah, so it should fly.
Few 100,000 people at least.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So you're probably good to go. Yeah. Okay. So by all means, what's stopping you from maybe doing this from a physical location as well, and telemed? That way, starting a practice and having a physical location is usually going to increase the chances of your success dramatically. Okay. It's much easier to market and to get patients regionally, locally, than it is via just telemed alone. All right. Okay. Most people that I talk with, the ones who are more successful, typically will have a physical location. All right. Telemed only. I do know some people who do telemed only that do well, but it takes a lot longer to get patients. You have to spend some money marketing it because there's no physical presence, right? So it's a little bit harder for people to find you. If you have a physical location, an actual location somewhere, then it's a lot easier for people to find you because you better believe people are trying to search for this stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you can name this practice, whatever it is that you want, but it needs to say something along the lines of allergy clinic, and, the allergy and sensitivity wellness practice, something like that, It can be just a name, whatever it is that you want, a noun of some sort that you like. Like, I'm just throwing this out there, okay? Don't use this name, but like, for example, like sunflower as an example or something like the sunflower allergy and sensitivity wellness clinic, something like that tells people what it is that you do, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sensitive to I have allergies. And I see the name of that practice. Okay, I'm going to click on their website. I'm going to take a look and see what they're doing. And then if the services that you provide resonate with people, they're going to schedule an appointment. And by all means, you need to have a video on that, on that website where it's you talking in front of a camera for 10 or 15 minutes. And you talk about the experiences that you've had with your own child and how this has led you to become an expert in allergies and sensitivities or whatever, right? That instantly builds an emotional connection with potential customers. Instantly. All right. And it builds trust immediately. And now they can relate with you and they trust you, and it will improve bookings. I guarantee it will. Okay. You write your story out, and then you also record your story, just a video. Then you talk and you list your services on the website, etc. So if someone is in your area looking for it, they will go to your website and they will find you. And then, and you should probably start getting some patients fairly quickly, especially if it's cash based. If you charge reasonable amounts of money, that's still making a profit, then, people will pay you. You can just tell people, like, insurance doesn't pay what I do. They don't pay for this. I'm sorry. They just don't. So, but these are the prices, and I will be able to help you, figure out what the hell's going on. So
what do you recommend? I'm sorry, what do you recommend as far as like starting the services and stuff like that, and how to scale the packages?
Yeah. So I think you're going to need to first identify here what is it that you are going to offer exactly, right? Like, what are you offering first? Sure, you're doing allergy testing. That's a no-brainer, right? There's a diagnostic component of it. You're going to do a comprehensive lab testing. You're going to test for allergies. You're going to test for a variety of different other things that you think are relevant, maybe like a vitamin D level. I mean, if someone's vitamin D is, 10, they're probably not going to have the greatest immune system in the world. Right? They're going to be sensitive to all kinds of stuff, right? So yeah, you do comprehensive testing, you do the allergy component, the allergy testing of it. If someone has food sensitivities and things like that, do you also do comprehensive stool testing as an example, So you can list out a variety of different things that, that you test for. So you can either have the diagnostic testing as separate pricing, and then you package that up as well with a visit. So if someone wants to come in just to get the testing done, then okay, here's the price. You make a couple $100 or whatever from it, and then you can package that with with visits as an example. So you can say an initial comprehensive visit that lasts 1 to 1.5 hours, where we go over your blood work, we go over your stool testing, whatever it is. It's a very comprehensive initial visit where I will be able to help you figure out what it is that you're allergic to, that you're sensitive to, etc. And then from there, you can include the price of just visits by themselves, all right? Or you can create like a package where, this is a 8-week or 12-week program, that includes the testing and includes visits, a comprehensive initial evaluation plus visits every 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. And the goal by the end of the 8 to 12 weeks is to help you manage this from, more of a holistic standpoint versus just medication or whatever. So you kind of want to figure out how you're going to structure how you want to treat and see these patients, and then kind of create packages around that. So how many visits is it going to require? What are the things that you're testing for, the things that you're doing here? Is there probably should be a package for pediatric patients, package for patients with IBS, GI problems, adult allergies. You have just a few different packages, and then within those packages should include the lab work, should include the visits, and then any kind of prescription medication that you might be giving, peptides or vitamin injections, whatever it is that you want to do, should be included in the price as well. So I would imagine this will probably be a little bit more of a higher dollar kind of package, I would think. Because I don't know, you tell me. I'm not an allergy specialist by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, the only thing I've ever really done is give people some steroid shots for their seasonal allergies. So how long does it take to diagnose someone, to test them, and to treat them? How long of a process does this usually take?
It's a lot of diet analysis, honestly. So initially when I see a patient, I think I'll have those papers okay, let's do a 3 to 5 day diet analysis kind of thing. You write down everything and then send it to me. And that's what we'll talk about in that first visit, getting to know them kind of thing. And then I can kind of troubleshoot the areas that they're in. And then, like you said, see if, it would be on a case by case basis, but see if they need maybe vitamin testing or true IgE testing or different specific, if I keep seeing the same thing pop up, then we can test their allergy profile.
So this is something that takes probably a few months to figure out and dial in.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it unfortunately with food allergies, there isn't really, depending upon what it is. I don't know if you've heard of alpha-gal coming up lately. That's the biggest talk on the town in the allergy world, and that's from a tick bite. So, and people can't eat red meat anymore or milk. They die. Or they get really sick, and then, hopefully I can catch them before they get that again kind of thing. So I can do some Lyme testing. So like I said, it's going to be on a case by case, and a lot of the allergy stuff, it's avoidance. And then maybe a little bit of tolerance we can try with some patients, introducing a little bit at a time safely.
Okay. So then you're going to need to just figure out what the time frames are for some of these packages. Is there going to be some comprehensive 3, 4, 5 month long program versus the quick 1 month fix sort of a thing? So really just think about this And that's how you would create the packages, if you wanted to too, you could simplify it at first until you figure it out. Sometimes when you launch a business, everything doesn't need to be dialed in, set in stone when you first launch. Okay. It doesn't need to be. You can pivot and change things as you grow. Okay. So if you want to keep this as simple as possible, you could just say the initial valuation is blank, $300, $400, $500, whatever it is. And then from there, each follow-up visit is $150, $250, whatever. You could just basically have a fee for service kind of a thing at first. All right. Okay. And then you just include the pricing of the lab work and whatnot. I usually recommend that you should have at least some kind of basic lab panel included in like the first initial visit cost. Okay. So you need to figure out kind of what is it that you're going to test in almost every single person. I would imagine there's probably going to be a basic foundational lab panel that you will probably do in most people, right? 95% of people, it'll probably be a basic panel just to see what they're right. I would include that in the first visit for everybody. Okay. So you would basically, whatever that costs you, okay, then you want to make a little bit of a profit from that. So as an example, I don't know what the pricing is for the allergy testing with Access quite yet. I don't know the specifics of that yet. But I'm just throwing this out there just as, as an example. So let's just say, for example, it costs $200. Okay. And then you also want to add some additional testing included with it. That might be more of a comprehensive wellness kind of a panel. Basic stuff too included with it, CBC and all that kind of stuff, right? The basics. And vitamin D thrown in there and whatever else. Let's just say that panel will cost $150. So let's just say that the lab work costs you $350. Okay. Probably want to include that in the visit fee. All right. So, if the initial visit is going to take you about an hour and a half, something like that, then, you want to make sure that you're paid appropriately for your time. Now, what you're worth from an hourly standpoint versus what I'm worth is different. And that's just with anyone. Everyone's worth a little bit different, at an hourly rate, right? If you're a billionaire, your time is worth a lot of money, right? Like $1 million an hour kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
I want to be worth more.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, this is how you attach value to your time is by building a business and becoming wealthy, right? So, anyways, what I would do is, how much were you making at the urgent care?
Probably just like shy of 65, 70.
160, 175. Is that what you said?
No, hourly.
60,
hourly, 70.
Okay. Well, you're a business owner now, so now your time's worth 100. Okay. An hour minimum. All right.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, if any competent NP out there is worth $100 an hour at least. All right. So value your time. You're worth $100 an hour at least. Okay. So if the visit takes an hour, then you want to make at least $100 for your time, right? That goes in directly into your pocket. Okay. Margin for a business like this is probably going to be about 50%, just like most other cash-based wellness kind of practices. All right. So if it's, if the margin's 50%, then you want to charge $200 basically for the visit itself. $100 is for you for the profit. $100 covers overhead of the business itself, rent, etc. Right. And then another $350 for the blood work. And like I said, don't quote me on the blood work component of it. I don't know exactly how much the blood work is going to cost you, but I'm just throwing this out there as an example. So the visit cost would be $550, $600. That's for the first visit, the initial visit. It's an hour and a half long, includes the blood work. We're going to, go over it, etc. So that's kind of how you would price the initial visit. You include blood work plus that, plus your time, because this is going to require your time, right?
Correct.
So yeah, and then follow-up visits are, $150 or whatever. If they take 30 minutes and, an hour of your time or something like that. Do that at first for the first few months. Okay. as you begin learning, as you begin kind of figuring out what people want, as you begin figuring out kind of what's working and what isn't, then at that point you start building out more packages, more monthly subscription memberships and stuff like that. That way you figure out kind of what works and what doesn't. You can also take a look at some other cash-based allergy practices in some other areas and kind of see what they're doing. You can kind of more or less copy what they do. You do that too. All right. So that's kind of how I'd go about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions with that?
Well, I don't think so.
Okay. So in terms of starting the business, I know you mentioned before the call that you haven't took any Elite NP courses yet. So, I'm not going to go over every aspect of starting a practice with you over a, 45-minute podcast. I think that really any of the courses should work for you. If you want to do some vitamin injection kind of stuff for people, then the IV vitamin injection course will walk you through the process of starting a practice. But I would just kind of disregard the IV stuff. You probably won't be doing IVs unless you want to do some kind of immune blend IV for people or something. You know what I mean? So you could take like that course as an example to give you the steps on starting the practice. You know what I mean? HRT courses, I would say probably that is not going to be as applicable to this business. Really, I don't think for now. Maybe later on it might be. So I'd say probably avoid the HRT courses. The peptide course isn't as much of a business course as it is a clinical course. So that course isn't going to really walk you through the aspects of starting a business. All right. If you want to tie in some functional medicine stuff to this business, okay, if you feel like that would be helpful.
I was wondering.
Yeah. Okay. I think it makes sense approaching this from a functional medicine standpoint. I think, approaching this from a holistic standpoint makes sense to me. So maybe the functional medicine course wouldn't be a half bad thing. Like the foundational functional medicine course will kind of give you the foundational knowledge of functional medicine, but it will also talk to you. It'll also guide you through the process of starting a functional medicine practice. But starting a functional medicine practice, HRT practice, weight loss practice, wellness practice, whatever, it's ultimately the same thing. Okay. Like it's the same steps, just a few little variations, a few differences. Okay. So yeah. So I'd say if you were, just pick a topic that interests you, but just make sure the business startup component is in the course as well. And I know for sure, like the IV vitamin injection course would be, and the foundational functional medicine course would be, and that will give you the steps on starting the business itself, plus give you, maybe some ideas from a clinical standpoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, any questions from more of a high level startup kind of aspect here in terms of like what's really on your mind here? What are you worried about, I guess? All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all Elite Nurse Practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and then other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioners, sisters, and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode.
I think my fears are lessening. The more I'm bathing myself in, education on starting a business, and just need to find out what good EMR and what those are. And you mentioned it in the IV.
Yeah, the courses talk about all that stuff. What EMR works best and things like that. I mean, at the end of the day, don't get too held up on what EMR to use. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter that much. Like, these little things don't matter that much, okay? The big thing that matters right now is ensure your idea is worthy, which it is, okay? Make sure that there's market demand, which you're telling me there is because there's no competitors in your area doing this, right? Make sure that you have some resources from a financial standpoint to float you through this, okay? The beautiful thing about a practice like this is that I wouldn't imagine it would cost you more than $10,000 to start. Like, maybe tops 20, maybe tops. And that's depending on just how nice of an office you want, really. Okay. So like, you should be able to go all in on this for between $10,000 and $20,000 and actually have a fairly decent clinic. Okay. Is that going to be an issue for you? Do you have those kind of resources, 10 or 20,000 bucks to be able to put towards this?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So then that's taken care of. Another aspect that I think you need to be concerned about, like I said, the nit and gritty of the business stuff is covered in the course. Don't worry about that. Just do it. Okay. But like big high level things here. Another thing that concerns me is from a personal financial standpoint, how long are you going to be able to do this without generating much of a profit before you start freaking out, basically? Like, how much savings do you have? Do you have any kind of other revenue streams coming in? Like, what's that look like?
Well, I'm married, and he has a consistent source of income, and I have in savings. So what should be my time frame to, kind of look at for profit? And
3 to 6 months. Okay. Like, you need to ensure that you got about 6 months of cushion here. Okay. If you guys got to cut back a little bit for a few months, then so be it. I had to. A lot of people who start their business have to. That's just that's part of the game. Unless you want to take a business loan out, don't do that. Okay.
No.
Yeah. Hell no. Like, the interest rate on a business loan right now is like 10-15%. You do not want to take a business loan out. So avoid that by all means. So you need to, from a very comfortable standpoint, 6 months of cushion is kind of what you want. All right. So you're going to have to, put a little money towards this business at first, and you'll probably have to put some personal dollars into it for a couple months until it starts generating enough revenue to where the business goes on autopilot. All right. And by autopilot, I mean the business revenue is now paying for the business expenses. So now the business is paying for itself. You no longer have to put any more of your own cash into it. Okay. You don't have to infuse your own money into it anymore. But you're probably going to have to do that for a couple months. All right. So just throwing some numbers out there, $10,000 to start the thing up. That is if you get an office, you got to put down, your first month, last month down, whatever. Some basic furniture inside this thing, right? Used furniture off Facebook Marketplace is fine. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need an exam table for an allergy clinic. Like, don't waste your money on a $1,500 exam table. You don't need it. What do you need an exam table for? This is mostly laboratory-based medicine. You need a consultation chair and a desk, right? You're not doing a whole lot of physical exams on people, I wouldn't imagine. And if you do want to do physical exams on people and do that kind of route, buy a $500 massage table. It works just as well. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The tips.
You don't need to go all out here. You don't need to have a $500 vital signs machine, a $70, Omron blood pressure cuff from Amazon is fine. You know what I mean? A little $50 O2 monitor is fine. A $50 scale is fine that someone just stands on. You know what I mean? You don't need this fancy. You just don't for a clinic like this. All right. So be extremely lean going into this. You know what I mean? Be a miser when it comes to spending money on what you need to start this business. The supplies for a business like this there's probably not really a whole lot of supplies necessary for this kind of business.
Right.
Yeah. So go very, very lean with it, and an office space. A business like this probably doesn't need to be prime in terms of real estate goes.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I mean, how many people are going to be driving by and being like, "Oh, look at that! There's an allergy clinic." It's different. It's not a men's health clinic or a weight loss practice, which is kind of just targeting the general public, right? This is extremely niche. This is extremely specific. This is why you don't see specialty offices on main streets. The only things that you see on main streets are urgent cares, some primary care offices, weight loss clinics, HRT practices, aesthetic practices, med spas. You see those things on main streets, right? You don't see a GI doctor or a rheumatologist on a main street because they don't need to be on a main street. They're so specialized, people are finding them, right? So you can, yeah. So you can just be in some little medical office building somewhere and have one little office that's 500 square feet somewhere. Okay, like I had to take my kid to a pediatric urologist. He was in some big 5-story medical office. We had to go to an elevator. We had to go up to the 3rd floor. You know what I mean? You never know. You would never known his office is in there. You just wouldn't have. But I needed a pediatric urologist. So I found one, and that's where his office was. So be cheap in terms of where it is that you want to go. Like I would say just find something that's reasonable, 500 square feet, maybe 1,000 tops. You don't need anything big. You don't need anything crazy. You don't need a bunch of exam rooms. You don't need this stuff. It's a simple business. It's a simple practice. Lab work and testing and stuff, you don't have to draw that there. You can just give them an order to go to LabCorp. If you use Access Medical Labs, they can take the lab order to any kind of LabCorp they want and get the blood work drawn there. Okay, you don't have to draw it there in your office unless you want to.
No.
Yeah, if you don't want,
I'm good.
Yeah, if you don't want to, then
I was a phlebotomist before, but no.
Yeah, if you don't want to do that, then don't. You know what I mean? So this business can be extremely simple if you decide that you want it to be simple, because your goal here from a high level here, your goal is to treat the patients, right? See them, test them, and treat them, and collect payment. That's the goal. Those are the 2 goals. That's it. Everything else is noise, and it's not that important. All right? So as long as you can accomplish those things right there, you are good to go. All right? So a very simple office, 500 square feet, couple chairs, couch, desk. Like, you don't need that much. And you can do this by yourself. You don't need an employee right now. You can do this all by yourself for the time being. Okay? Yeah. As you grow and scale, you probably will need a receptionist at some point, but you don't right now. For the next 3 to 6 months, you probably can do all this by yourself because you are not working right now. What else are you doing? Yeah. If you got to pivot. So let's say 4 or 5 months go by. You're still dumping money into this. You're still having to pay rent. It's a little slower than you thought, and you're like, I'm diving into my savings now. We're getting patients. We're kind of almost there. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we're not quite there yet. And I don't want to take money out of my savings. Then there's absolutely no harm at all in going and picking up a PRN shift at an urgent care somewhere for, 1 or 2 days a week. Whatever. I did that. A lot of people do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when I first started my men's health clinic, I was working at a Suboxone clinic. PRN, 1 day a week. And the money that I made at the Suboxone clinic, I used that money to pay my medical assistant who was running my men's health clinic when I wasn't there. So basically I was working over here to pay my MA over here. I had to do that for a couple months. It was a couple months. It wasn't the end of the world. I was tired. It sucked, but it's not the end of the world,
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Deal.
any other questions?
And maybe this way you're talking about like initially just focus on, but what packages could I offer that could generate money just like without me thinking about it? That's where I guess I'm hung up a little bit. It's like this is a lot of me time. So how can I do things that, generate money? Do you see that avenue?
Yeah. So you're basically talking about how do you develop more of like a passive income that's not so much tied to your time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to be the packages that are 2 or 3 months long, or like a monthly rate. Okay, so someone comes in and you can launch this right from the start if you want to. Okay, what I would advise from the very start here is that do what I just told you to do a little earlier. Have an initial evaluation fee and then have a follow-up fee. Okay, they want to just pay for visits, allow them to pay for visits, okay? Just at first. But you can also have some packages. So if you have a package that includes blood work, includes the initial evaluation, includes 4 follow-up visits, but also includes some supplements or a peptide or something, okay? Then you can increase the cost of that package, and it's mostly money to you because you basically, whatever something costs you, you charge the patient 1.5 to 2x your cost. So that's easy profit for you. So as an example, if you're going to be giving someone a peptide that costs you $100, you're charging them $200. So you make an easy $100 for basically doing nothing, right? Vitamin D injections, as an example, would be kind of the same thing. The vial of vitamin D doesn't cost you anything, and you charge $50, per injection or whatever. So you include the cost of things like that within your package that basically just improve your overall income. So, I mean, I can't tell you exactly what to include in your package because I don't know exactly what it is that you're doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So just be thinking about that. What's value that I can add to this package that makes someone okay with spending $2,000 on a package?
Okay.
That's going to be blood work. The visits are included, 3 to 4 visits or something, and then give them something else. Give them some supplements, give them a peptide, give them vitamin injection, whatever. You include that in there with it. And then that way, it's not so much tied to your time anymore. But it still requires some of your time because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're the main product. People want to see you and they want to be treated by you. You know what I mean? But there's these other little complementary side things that do generate that generate revenue for you. So, yeah. So like I said, maybe create 3 packages right from the get-go. A pediatric allergy package, an adult allergy package, and then maybe like a food sensitivity, GI, IBS kind of a package or something like that. And then that way you have 3 packages. Then you could also in addition to that, you could also have a monthly membership as well that more or less kind of provides the same thing as the package does, but it's not but the payment isn't upfront. It's spread out over 3 to 6 months kind of a thing. So you put them on an automatic payment plan of $200 a month, and that includes follow visit with you and whatever. You can call that the allergy resolution membership or something like that. Over the next 6 months, we're going to help you become allergy free or GI sensitive free or food sensitive free or whatever. And it's more like a 6-month kind of a thing. So again, think about what makes sense for your business, what it is that you want to provide, and break it down that way. But like I said, go look at some people that are doing this in other cities or whatever and kind of see what they offer. And you can use that as an example, a template for you. You can copy it if you want to. Who cares? You know what I mean? So maybe just do a little bit of research and kind of see how this is done in some other areas.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. So,
thank you.
Any other questions?
As and maybe talk about this, and of course it's a brief question. But as far as like establishing, in my state, I have to have a PLLC. Would I be better off to go? Obviously, an attorney is going to cost more than an accountant, kind of thing. So, what's your take on that?
Some states require a PLLC. So, if your state requires a PLLC, then you don't really have a choice. Okay, you got to operate out of a PLLC. If you can operate out of an LLC, by all means, operate out of an LLC because it's just so much easier to create. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But if does your state require a PLLC?
They do.
It does.
As far as I can tell, I'll double check it. But
yeah, if you want to tell me what state you're in, I can tell you.
Yeah, it's Illinois.
Illinois.
So, yeah, because I'm a nurse practitioner.
Right. Of course, that's a state.
If I was just trying to do a health coach business, then no.
Right. I'm not
100%
100% sure on Illinois. Like I know like New York State as an example requires a PLLC, and I think Pennsylvania does and some other states. If Illinois does require a PLLC, like I said, you don't really have a choice, okay? I mean, use ChatGPT and ask it. Do I need to have a PLLC?
Okay.
Like this is the kind of practice, this is what I want to start. This is the business that I want to start. You know, like tell it exactly what it is that you're doing. This is the business that I want to start. I'm a nurse practitioner, whatever. Am I required to have a PLLC or can I operate out of an LLC? And it'll get like, and it'll tell you the answer. Okay. If a PLLC is required, okay, then look up how to just do it yourself. Usually it's just filing some paperwork with the Secretary of State. All right. Do this yourself. Do not pay a lawyer $2,000 to do this for you.
No, I didn't mean that. I just meant to look over the legal aspect that I didn't miss any steps before I started business. But so you don't think a lawyer is necessary?
Do not waste your time.
Sweet. Okay.
I have never, and I've been consulting with NPs and teaching NPs how to start businesses now for, Jesus, I think 7 years now, something like that. We started in 2019. I have never, ever heard from an NP that said, I was glad I spent the money on a lawyer to help me start my business. I have never heard that. But what I tell you what I have heard multiple times, hundreds of times, in fact, that was the biggest waste of money I've ever spent. They told me nothing that you didn't tell me.
Okay, cool.
Like, and the thing is, most attorneys that do healthcare law or whatever, most of them don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're like, they just don't. Like, so many healthcare attorneys are absolutely clueless. You're like, you're a healthcare attorney. Aren't you supposed to know this? The answers that they give you are always things like, well, it could be this and maybe, but maybe you can do it this way. And it's always these gray answers, like lawyers.
Yeah.
That's always what it is. It's always these gray answers. You know what I mean? I'm paying you for a yes or no, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, excuse my language there, but like I'm passionate about that because it's such a waste of money. Like I'm sorry, but I think a lot of attorneys are going to be out of jobs in the next 5 to 10 years thanks to artificial intelligence.
Noble.
You can look up all this stuff online yourself and just do it yourself. You don't need a lawyer. So don't waste your money. It's not necessary. This is the big thing when it comes from a legal standpoint of a business. Okay, especially a practice. Number one, don't kill patients. Okay.
Yes, that was good.
Obviously, right? Don't kill or hurt patients. Okay, that's number one. Number two, don't commit fraud. You're not going to be committing fraud, so don't worry about it. And the only time you got to really worry about that is when you start taking insurance, specifically Medicare, Medicaid.
No.
That's when some stuff can start becoming a little bit gray of what you're doing. So if you don't accept insurance, you don't got to worry about the fraud component of it. Okay? Be regulatory compliant. By that, like that's usually going to revolve around controlled substances for the most part. And you are not going to be prescribing controlled substances from your business. It's an allergy clinic, right?
Right.
And you're going to be charging cash. So from a regulatory standpoint, most regulations in healthcare stem from insurance-based stuff, okay? So you don't got to worry about that. You are practicing within your scope of practice. You are a family nurse practitioner. A family nurse practitioner can treat people for allergies, right? You do that out of a primary care office. So why can't you do it somewhere else? Okay.
Absolutely.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's really about it. What entity you function out of, it doesn't really matter that much. If your state requires a PLC, operate out of a PLLC. That's it. That's it at the end of the day. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So don't waste your money. It'll that $10,000 startup budget, reduce it by 25% if you hire a lawyer.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And then when you own your own business, you should count on like 20% decrease, right? For taxes and everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're only going to pay, you're only going to pay taxes on your profit. Okay.
Okay.
You do not pay taxes on your revenue. You only pay taxes on the profit that you make. So if you bring in $10,000 one month and it costs you $10,000 to keep the business running, you have to pay zero taxes that month. Okay.
Okay.
So it's only on your profit, and then that's going to be taxed at basically just your income tax bracket.
Okay.
Yeah. Free of employment taxes. If you file as an S corp. But I talk about that in the courses. Okay. So yeah, you're not gonna have to file as an S corp. You're gonna function out of a PLLC, but you're gonna file your taxes as an S corp. This is a question that you ask that your accountant will help you navigate. You will need an accountant. You like having an accountant for a small business is a good thing. Okay.
Yeah. I already do have an accountant.
Yeah. If you already have an accountant, then they are your resource for those kinds of questions from a tax standpoint. Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
And obviously malpractice. Have malpractice insurance, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
CM&F Group. Just get a policy through CM&F Group.
CMF.
Yep. CM&F Group. Just get a policy through them. Easy. Takes 15 minutes. Probably cost you a couple $1,000, maybe, for an entire year. It's not that expensive. Depending on what you're offering. You're offering more primary care-based services, allergy testing and stuff like that. It's pretty low liability. So you're probably okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure you have an EpiPen in your clinic, right? Like common sense stuff. The EpiPens that we have at my clinic, I literally just prescribed an EpiPen to one of my MAs. He went to Walgreens and picked it up, and we threw it in a cabinet. That's our EpiPen.
You know what? The crazy thing is the allergist will tell you to bring 2 of yours when you come in. I don't even know if they have them on site.
See, that's ridiculous.
I've been to
Yeah.
What's up?
That's ridiculous. You should have an EpiPen if you have an allergy clinic. Right.
We went to the ER when he was 10 months, and they said, do you have an EpiPen? And I said, yeah, in my hand. They said, okay, give it. And I'm like, I came to the ER. Don't you have a crash cart? Well, yeah, but you can give it faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So, you have an allergy clinic. Have a bottle of Benadryl, have a bottle of dexamethasone, and have a couple EpiPens sitting in the cabinet.
Yeah.
What else do you need, really, And like I said, at my mental health clinic, I just prescribed one of my MAs the EpiPen. We just threw it in the cabinet. You know what I mean? I'm not going to order a vial of epinephrine. I got to draw it out and we'll have someone's in anaphylaxis. Absolutely not. We just got a couple EpiPens hanging out, So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Right. No, at this moment, you've been very helpful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. Like I said, take one of the courses, and a lot of this, you'll have all the steps that you need. Okay, every step you need to start the practice, and then at that point, it's just getting it out there. Get a website built. I mean, you listen to these podcasts, you know what I talk about all the time in these podcasts, your Google business listing, making sure you're easily found, all this basic stuff I talk about over and over and over again. Listen to some podcasts, take the course. You'll have literally 90% of everything that you need there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome.
And thank you for doing this.
Yeah, no, for sure. I like the end of the episode with you asking me a question. You have a question for me, a personal curiosity or just a question, just, directly for me.
So how many clinics are you running now? I've heard in your last episode, you're opening clinics and then you sell them. So I think that was your millionaire podcast. So
yeah, we still have the two. We have the 2 men's health clinics. I'm not really I don't do anything anymore with them. I haven't been to my second location in years. I don't even know what it looks like anymore. I couldn't even drive to it. I'd have to look it up on Google. I don't even know where it is.
Oh, wow.
I haven't been there in years. So yeah, I mean, I see patients for, a couple hours every week at this point. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, think about opening up another one. Think about opening up like a performance enhancement, sports medicine, executive level concierge, high ticket kind of a clinic, hyperbaric oxygen chambers and DEXA scans and VO2 max training and, some more athletic kind of stuff. I'm thinking about doing that just as more or less a side fun project kind of a thing, make a few extra bucks and just be around people that I resonate with, I guess. So yeah, but
Sounds good.
yeah. All right. Well, if you ever want to do a follow-up, by all means, let me know. Happy to help as you get this thing running, and maybe we can help kind of maybe fine-tune it a little bit in 3 to 4 months or something.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right, you're welcome. Take care.
Have a great day.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcast. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2023 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.